Hero Factory and welcome to Kids Church. It's so good to have you here. So we are now 3 weeks, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks into our royalty series. So the first week we learned all about Josiah. Last week we watched the Veggie Tales of Esther, who was a queen. Obviously Josiah was a king. And today we're going to move on and we are going to look at another king in the Bible. And he's a pretty famous king. You've probably heard lots about him. But basically he was asked if he wanted something and he had to choose what he wanted. Now, if I was in a position where I was asked if I wanted anything in the world, I probably wouldn't give his answer, but let's watch this story and then we'll find out.
Stories of the Bible. Solomon asks for wisdom. This is Solomon.
Hey there!
Solomon was the king of Israel after his father David. Solomon loved God, and God was with Solomon and made him very powerful.
Oh, yeah!
One night, God appeared to Solomon in a dream.
Whoa!
God said, "What do you want? Ask and I will give it to you." Solomon said, "You showed great and faithful love to David, my father, and now you have made me king in his place." But then Solomon said that he felt like a child who didn't know his way, and that there were so many people of Israel to lead. So Solomon asked God for wisdom. He asked for an understanding heart so that he could rule God's people well and know the difference between right and wrong. God was happy that Solomon asked for wisdom, because it showed that his greatest desire was to help God's people. God said, "I will certainly give you the wisdom and knowledge you requested, but I will also give you wealth, riches, and fame, such as no other king has had before you or will ever have in the future."
Whoa!
Then Solomon woke up and realized it had been a dream.
Huh! Wow!
He went back to Jerusalem and made sacrifices to God. God did give all he said he would to Solomon. Solomon was known as a wise king and ruled God's people with wisdom for many years.
So Solomon, he is the king, and God comes and speaks to him and says, "What do you want?" Basically, what do you want? And he could have chosen so many things. He could have chosen power or strength or favor, which means that people would like him. He could have chosen anything, but he chose wisdom. Can everybody say wisdom? Now, wisdom's a bit of a funny thing. You've maybe never heard of what wisdom is, but wisdom is this. Wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and a good judgment, the quality of being wise. So sometimes you might have heard the phrase, the wise old owl. And what that means is because an owl is really old, they know lots of stuff. Like you might think that your granddad or your grandma is very wise because they are very old, they've seen lots of things, they've heard lots of things, they've done lots of learning, which means that they are very wise. And being wise means that you make a good decision, that you make a really wise decision that is the best for maybe the people in your life or for yourself. So there's been times in my life when I've had to make lots of wise decisions and I've not felt good enough. Maybe it's a decision about what to do in Hero Factory or a decision about what to do in my family, and sometimes it's hard to be quite wise and it's hard to stop and think about what might be good and what might be right for the people in our life. And here Solomon is asking for wisdom. He has lots of people who he's in charge of, and he wants to make sure that he is doing the right thing for them. So he asks for wisdom, which is such a cool thing to ask for. Now, he could have chosen anything, but he chose this because he wanted to be the best king who made right choices, not just for himself, but for the people people in his life as well. You see, when we look in the Bible, in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 5, it says this: "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all who approach him, and it will be given to you." You know, in our lives, there's going to be times when we need to make decisions for ourselves or decisions for other people. Maybe when you get older and you have a family, you have to make decisions for them. Maybe right now in your life, you need to make a decision, maybe over just something at school. Maybe there is a friend who maybe isn't being nice to you or being horrible to other people. And maybe you need a little bit of wisdom to know what the best thing to do that is right for you and right for them. But what it says in the book of James is that if you want wisdom, which is having knowledge and making a right decision, then we need to ask God for it. So if you need wisdom today, wisdom to make the right choice, wisdom to know what to do, then all we need to do is ask God for it, which is what Solomon did. Solomon asked God for wisdom, and God gave it to him. So if you need God to help you with a decision, all you need to do is ask him. So today we've been looking at wisdom and looking at a wise king. And it says that Solomon was one of the wisest people ever, and that he loved people and he was a great leader because he had this wisdom and made these right decisions. So Hero Factory, today, if you're here and you need help to make a right decision, all you need to do is ask God, and he'll give you wisdom and knowledge up here to know what to do.